welcome back. Today we're going to keep reading Encyclopedia Brown Boy Detective Book Number 1 by Donald Sewell. It was written in 1963. My name is Lydia.
Spencer.
Okay. And let's go.
We're now reading The Case of the Civil War Sword. A boy with red hair stopped in the doorway of the Brown Detective Agency. "Are you any good at swords?" he asked. Encyclopedia did not lift his eyes from his book, How to Build a Nuclear Reactor. "What kind of a game is swords?" he asked. "It isn't a game," said the red-haired boy. "My name is Peter Clinton. I want to hire you." Peter put 2 dimes and a nickel, which equals
50 cents. 25 cents.
Right. On the gasoline can beside Encyclopedia. The coins clinked. Encyclopedia stopped reading and he looked up, very businesslike. "How can I help you?" he asked. "I have a chance to trade my bicycle for a sword," said Peter. "I want to make sure the sword is real." "You don't think the sword is really a sword?" said Encyclopedia. "What do you think it is?" "That isn't what I mean," Peter said. "It's a sword from the Civil War." "Well, there are thousands of swords left over from the Civil War," said Encyclopedia. "I know," said Peter, "but how many belong to General Jackson?" "Stonewall Jackson?" gasped Encyclopedia. "The great Southern general?"
Dad.
"This sword is supposed to have belonged to Stonewall Jackson," said Peter. "Bugs Meany says so."
Oh,
Bugs.
here we go.
Encyclopedia straightened up at the name. "You want me to make sure the sword really did belong to Stonewall Jackson?" "Yes," said Peter. "Then you'll take the case?" "I'll take it," said Encyclopedia. "If Bugs is behind the trade, you're going to need some help." Peter led the private detective to the Tigers Clubhouse, which was an unused tool shed behind Mr. Sweeney's auto body shop.
That sounds an interesting club.
The Tigers were busy racing garter snakes. Bugs made a face when he saw Encyclopedia. "So, Mr. Brains is now a Civil War know-it-all," said the Tigers' leader. "Well, well, maybe you can tell me what Stonewall Jackson did at the Battle of Bull Run." "Which battle at Bull Run?" asked Encyclopedia. "There were 2, one in 1861, the other in 1862. "Well, good for you," said Bugs, grinning. "Now don't say this sword isn't the real thing." Encyclopedia walked to the table on which the sword lay. Bugs said, "This sword was given to Stonewall Jackson a month after the first Battle of Bull Run."
That's a...
"If that's true," Peter whispered to Encyclopedia, "the sword is worth 10 bikes like mine." 20, corrected Encyclopedia. "Read what it says on the blade," said Bugs. Encyclopedia read, "To Thomas J. Jackson, for standing like a stone wall at the first Battle of Bull Run on July 21st, 1861. This sword is presented to him by his men on August 21st, 1861. "The sword certainly has seen a lot of use," said Encyclopedia. "What, did you expect it to look new and shiny?" sneered Bugs. "It's more than 100 years old." "It doesn't look like it ever was worth $5, Encyclopedia said. "Never mind how it looks," said Peter. "Do you think it belonged to General Jackson?" Before Encyclopedia could answer, Bugs spoke up. "I sure hate to part with the sword," he said, "but Peter wants it so much, I just had to say I'd trade it for his bike." "Trade? You won't trade with Peter," said Encyclopedia. "This sword never belonged to General Stonewall Jackson." How did Encyclopedia know that?
It's something with the date of when he got...
Please let us know what you think in the comments. We'll answer as soon as 5 people make a comment. Got that? Alright, so let's do another one.
Just do this. The Case of Mirko's Grandson.
Maybe he's Japanese.
Bugs Meany and his Tigers liked to spend rainy afternoons in their clubhouse. Usually they sat around thinking up ways of getting even with Encyclopedia Brown. But today they had met for another purpose: to cheer the boy detective on. Encyclopedia and Sally Kimball were about to meet in a battle of brains. The Tigers hated Sally even more than they hated Encyclopedia, and with good reason. When Sally had moved into the neighborhood 2 months ago, the Tigers jumped to show off for her. She was very pretty, and she was very good at sports. In fact, she got up a team of 5th grade girls and challenged the Tigers to a game of softball. The boys thought it was a big joke, till Sally started striking them out. She was the whole team. In the last inning, she hit the home run that won for the girls 1-0. But the real blow fell on the Tigers the next day. Bugs was bullying a small boy when Sally happened to ride by on her bicycle. "Let him go," she ordered, hopping to the ground. Bugs snarled. The snarl changed to a gasp as Sally broke his grip on the boy. And before the other Tigers knew what to do, Sally had knocked their leader down with a quick left to the jaw. Bugs bounced up, surprised and angry. He pushed Sally. She hit him again, with a right to the jaw. Bugs said, "Ooh," and went down again. And for the next 30 seconds, Bugs bounced up and down like a beach ball. By the 4th bounce, he was getting up a lot more slowly than he was going down. "I'm going to make you sorry," he said, but his voice was weak, and he wore the sick smile of a boy who had taken one ride too many on a roller coaster. "So," said Sally. She moved her feet and took careful aim. "This," she said, aiming another blow, "should take the frosting off you." Bugs landed on his back, flat as a 15-cent sandwich. Which you can't find very often.
That tells you how flat it is.
And how old the book was. Not until Sally had ridden away did he dare get up. Sally Willow was not content to rest on her victories at softball and fighting. She aimed higher. She set out to prove she was not only stronger than any boy up to 12 years of age in Idaville, but smarter too. And that meant she had to outthink the thinking machine, Encyclopedia Brown. The great battle of brains took place in the Tigers clubhouse. The two champions, seated on orange crates, faced each other. The Tigers crowded behind Encyclopedia. The girls' softball team crowded behind Sally. That left just enough room in the tool shed to think. Everyone stopped talking when Peter Clinton,
The referee.
we've met Peter before, I believe, announced the rules. Sally has 5 minutes to tell a story. She must give all the clues, and then Encyclopedia will have 5 minutes to solve the mystery. Ready? You two? "Ready," said the girl champion. "Ready," said Encyclopedia, closing his eyes. "Go," called Peter, eyes on his watch, and Sally began to tell the story. The great Mirko was the best trapeze artist the world had ever seen. People in every big city were thrilled by the wonderful performer swinging 50 feet above the ground. In the year 1922, Mirko died at the very height of fame. In Mirko's desk was found a letter. It was a will, written by the circus star. The will directed that the star's money be put in a bank for 40 years. After 40 years, the money was to be taken out and given to Mirko's oldest grandson. If no grandson was alive, all the money was to go to Mirko's nearest relative, man or woman. 40 years passed. A search was begun. At last, a man was found in Kansas City who said he was Mirko's grandson. His name was Fred Gibson. He went to court to claim his inheritance. While the judge was listening to him, a tall woman in the back of the courtroom jumped up. She was very excited. The woman said she was the trapeze artist's grandniece. She kept shouting that the great Mirko was not Fred Gibson's grandfather. Therefore, the money was rightfully hers. The judge questioned the woman. He had to agree with what she said. She was Mirko's grandniece, and the great Mirko was not Fred Gibson's grandfather. "Now," concluded Sally, "who got Mirko's money? The tall woman or Fred Gibson?" Sally wore a smile of triumph as she looked at Encyclopedia. The tool shed was still. The boys looked at their shoes. Had Sally beaten them again? Had Encyclopedia met his match? Or his master? Encyclopedia had 5 short minutes to solve the brain twister. Slowly the minutes ticked away. 1, 2, 3, 4. Encyclopedia stirred on his orange crate. He opened his eyes and he smiled at Sally. "You told it very cleverly," he said. "I nearly said the wrong person. But the answer is really quite simple." Encyclopedia rose to leave. The great Mirko's money went to Fred Gibson. Why did Encyclopedia say that?
Same with the other one. please tell us in the comments what you think. Thank you. That's all for today. Bye.